This video accompanies the chapter 3 from my book, Computer Scripting Techniques with Python. Chapter 3 is titled Small Victories, Simple Python Programs. And while I imagine some folks would like to skip this chapter because they think the material is too academic or too elementary, right? It's probably not a good decision because a solid understanding of fundamentals of how Python runs a program, how programs are constructed, how you execute programs from the command line, or how the interpreter loads a module and begins execution. If you understand those concepts, it puts you at a pretty good advantage for being able to create more complex applications. Okay, so Chapter 3 has a pretty nice set of learning objectives. First off, listen, describe and wide Python programs. You know, launch the program on Python server in interactive mode. Execute Python code repo, execute Python program from the command line, execute Python program with efficiency of code, explain the differences between Python modules and packages, explain how the plus operator behaves with Python types, listen, describe fundamental Python data types, use Python sprint and input functions to perform console operations, demonstrate your ability to perform type conversions on string and types, explain the difference between syntax errors and runtime exceptions, use try and the except clause to properly handle runtime exceptions, explain how Python modules and packages are loaded and executed, listen, describe the contents of the Python standard library, import and use standard library packages and programs, and install and use third-party packages with pip or pip3. Okay. So there's a lot going on. This video won't talk about every one of these learning objectives, but over the course the course of the course, right? You'll be introduced to all of these, right? And in they each have their place. So, for example, the REPL, as we'll see here in a second, is a way to run Python programs, but it is, not meant to be used, all the time, right? Like, it's more convenient to run a Python file or run a Python program from the command line than it is to run it in the REPL, right? But we'll see this. If you just want to test out a few concepts, the REPL is a great place. Now, if you understand how the Python modules are loaded into the REPL and how they are executed and how you can run them, that's a valuable set of knowledge that enables you to understand just how Python works in general, right? So let's take a look at a simple Python program. Let me pull up a console. Now I'm running Mac OS here, so I'm going to load iTerm, which is my preferred terminal. And the first thing I do is I'm going to make the window bigger so we can see this in YouTube better. And that should be okay. So let me make this, I'll make this fill the screen. All right. By now you should know how to install Python in either your Mac OS, Linux, or Windows. So I'm not going to discuss those topics in this video. So you should be able to know also a handful of bash commands, which I'm not covering in this video. My astute observers will see that CLS is not a clear screen command for bash, right? It is clear. But because I used to be a Windows developer for a good long time, I aliased clear to CLS, right? So when I type CLS, I'm clearing the screen. Okay. Now I'm going to go to a dev folder. So there's a whole chapter on getting organizing, and in chapter 1, you should have created a development folder for yourself, right? So I'm going to say cd dev, and I'm going to go to check a look at it. Let's go to temp dev.tmp because I'm not doing anything in particular. All right, so I've got a couple different folders here. I'm just going to make mkdir ch chapter. What chapter is this? This is chapter. Chapter 3. All right, CD, chapter 3. Now, so clear the screen, and I'll make the console just a little bit bigger so that you guys have no problem seeing the text. So now REPL, right? If you just type Python, with no arguments, right? Or Python 3 is what I have to type here for Mac OS. Then it opens up the REPL, right? This is the read, evaluate, print, loop, right? And this information is obviously in chapter 3, right? So where I talk about the REPL and how to run programs in the REPL, right? Now, I only want to introduce this because understanding how the REPL works, like I say, leads to a better understanding of how Python works overall in general. All right. So now you can execute just, random Python commands here. Some of them will produce output, some of them won't, right? So for example, if I say print, select console, so I print, okay, and go, I'll print an F string, hello. Oops, let me go back here. Hello world, right? We don't have to think much about this. Hit return. It prints hello world. Now what's it printing? It's printing these characters here. This is also called an F string or a formatted string. And I'll show you how this is used in a second here. Okay, so that's one way. So you can just execute commands. You can say, you can declare a variable count equals 5 if you wanted to. And now you notice there was no output, but that variable has been set. It's called count. Now if I say print, right, F, hello, count, I'll just say count, equals, okay, this is equals, this is a equals is a quality, whereas a plain, and this will mix you up, like if you're first learning Python, that's like an assignment, right, that assigns, like for example up here on this line with count equals 5, it's taking the value 5 or the literal 5 and assigning that value to this memory location indicated by count. Okay. So I'm just going to print this string, count equals space, and I'm going to do I'm going to add these curly braces, and in these and then close it like that with a single quote. So now you've got this total string here, right? It's got count equals, and then you have these curly braces, and in these curly braces you put the value count, right? That's the variable name. All right, so now when we run this program, it will take whatever the value count is and evaluate it and say, oh, it's 5, and it takes 5, converts that to a string, and then incorporates it into this string here. Okay, so now when I hit return, we see count equals 5. Now, older versions of Python before these F strings came into effect, right? You would say print, let's say it would say single quote count equals, and then we could concatenate. Okay, let's see what happens if we don't use, if we just say count. Now, hit return. Right, so it's going to give you an error. This is an example of a runtime error, because Python will read in the code, right? Especially in the REPL, parse it to make sure that it makes sense. Okay, and in this case, what it's trying to do is go, oh, we're trying to concatenate a string with an int, but that's not going to work, right? Because one of these you have to change to either you change this to an int, which is pretty difficult, or change this to a string, which is the way to go, right? So if we redo this program, we hit the up arrow key, and we'll say, we'll call a built-in str string count, oops, like that. Now what we're doing here is we're saying, take this string, concatenate it with the string representation of this variable, which is an integer variable, right? or a numeric variable, I should say. It's a numeric variable. And why is it a numeric variable? Because it was signed a numeric value. Convert that to a string and then print the results, right? So now that works. Now, Python, you can assign anything to a variable, right? So if I decided to say count equals 5 for whatever reason, right? That's a string. Now I'm going to hit return. So now count, which was a numeric variable, has been overwritten with a string. And now if I execute this, it'll still work, right? Because I'm just going to convert a string to a string, but it's going to be 5, right? Because count. And I do not even need to do the string conversion or, use the string built in, because count is now a string, right? And hit return. Oops, return. Count equals 5. All right. So this is an interesting way to experiment with simple commands. Let me exit the REPL, which is exit. There's another way to exit too. I think it's Control D on the Macintosh, but I'd have to look that up myself because I don't remember those things right off the top of my head. I'm going to clear the screen. Now, I'm going to call Visual Studio Code. This is also in the book, how to install this. And what I do when I hit code dot, it's going to open Visual Studio Code in this directory. So I'm in chapter 3, dev.temp. I'm in my home folder, dev/dev.temp/chapter 3_3. So now I'm opening Visual Studio Code. Okay. Now that IDE is opened up. So there's no files, but I'm going to add a file. And I'm going to add a file called main.py. Okay. And I'm going to, believe I can just, I'll make everything bigger so we can see it better. I'm going to close this AI window. Don't need that. I'm going to move this over. This is your, this is not a lesson on how to use Visual Studio Code, but this is your Explorer window, right? So I'm going to close that. I've got my main.py. Now I'm just going to create a module. Actually, let's do this. Let's close this, go here. I'm going to create one more called Hello World. .py. And the reason why is I want to show you how a module behaves when you load it into the REPL. Okay, very important concept coming up. And then running it from the command line. All right. So I have two modules. Now these are module names. Whenever you create a Python file, this is considered a module. Okay. The name of the module is whatever the name of the file is minus the py. So this module here name is main. And this module is hello_world. Okay, so that's an important concept to kind of understand. I'm going to work on hello world first. So I've got hello world selected. I'll close this. And the first thing I like to do on a module is add some comments. These comments, these are dot comments. They could be 3 single quotes or 3 double quotes like that, right? I think I prefer the double quotes. This will be hello world module defines hello_world module. Okay. Make that an S, defines the hello world module. Save that file and come down here and I'm going to say, I will say def. I'm going to create, well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to print, first off, kind of what we just did in the previous example. These F strings can have single or double quotes. Anything in Python, you can use either single or double quotes. Whatever you do in your programs, you could be consistent, right? So F string hello world. So now, when you see this right here, this is totally fine Python code, right? It's a module called hello world. It really just has a comment. This is a dot comment, and this is just a print statement, right? It's not even in its own function. So I can make this code a little bit bigger to make sure everyone can see it better. Okay. So we just have this. Now what happens is that whenever a module is loaded into the REPL, now that doesn't matter whether or not you're actually running the REPL and you say load the module, right? Or you run this, you try to load this from the command line, right? Whenever anything that's just at this top level gets evaluated, okay? So this print statement will obviously be evaluated and it will print, right? So let's see an example of that. All right. So give me 1 second. Okay. So we have this module. If we do a dir, we've got two modules. Main doesn't have anything in it yet, but we've got hello_world. Let's type REPL. No, REPL. Python. I mean, that's going to kill me. Python 3 for the Mac OS, right? So Python 3. And now I want to import hello world, just like that without the py. And it's going to check the current directory to see, oh, do I have a hello world module that I can load? Now, as soon as I hit return, it's going to evaluate the code in that module. And if there's any just regular old statements that need to be executed, it will execute them. So it prints hello world, right? So exit. Now let's add another function to the hello world module. Now I'm going to say hello world -- this prints whenever module is loaded into the REPL, all right? Or into the Python interpreter, right? I'm just going to say this, into the Python interpreter, because that's what's happening. You might be running the REPL, right, which is that read, evaluate, print loop, right? But when you type import hello world, it's importing that module into the interpreter, right? Now, so this will always run whenever you just import the module, okay? And that doesn't matter whether or not this module is being explicitly imported by you in the REPL or imported into another module, and I'm going to show you that. So now I'm going to call a function. This is how you define a function. I'm going to say print greeting, okay? And it'll take a message. Okay. Yeah, let's see message, right? See if I can get away. I'll just do it like this, and we'll talk about parameters later. So print greeting, and I'm going to say print f, right? Actually, I'll do it this way. I'm going to say message equals hello world. So I'm setting like a default value for this parameter. A parameter is like a variable that is used to pass information into a function, right? So print f, and I'm just going to print the message, right? So I'm just going to say message. So I've got my formatted string. It's got single quotes, and right? If I wanted to be consistent with my quote usage, I could change this to double quotes for my strings, right? Same thing, same effect. Now, we're going to see a difference here. This line will print. I'm going to put a comment right here. Hashtag line prints when imported. But this line, I want to say this line, to be actually accurate, this line is evaluated and then executed, right? When the module is imported. Okay. This line is evaluated, but must be explicitly called before it executes. All right, so I show you the difference between the two, right? So this is a function. It's been defined. So when this module loads, the interpreter says, oh, here's a line. It's at the leftmost, and it's a command to do a print. So it's going to evaluate this and say, okay, yeah, that's a valid, execute it. And then it's going to go to the next thing, print greeting. Well, that's a definition, so it's evaluated it, but now it's going to wait for the function call. All right. Now, there's a couple ways you could do this. You could call the function down here. You could say print, right, underscore greeting. And I'll show you how to do this in a second with like, hello, Rick. Like that, right? Because that would be another, that's a way to call it. But we can also call it from the repo when we import it. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to save this. I'm going to move back to the console, clear the screen, type Python 3. All right. Hit return. There's my REPL. And I'm going to say import hello world. So we're going to see the first print. That line gets printed. And then we want to call print message. Let's see if we can just do this. Print message. Just like this. Okay, so it says it's not defined. It says print message is not defined. Oh, wait, maybe it's print greeting, right? What did I do? Hang on one second. I can't even remember what I called it. Print greeting. All right, so let's try print greeting before we go to the next step. So, so there again, there's an error, right? Try to call a function that's not defined. Print greeting. And it says print greeting is not defined. Okay, now, you might be scratching your head at this point and saying, well, why? And that's because you have to evaluate you have to actually specify, oh, it's in which module? Hello world. And then I think we have to do a dot and go print greeting like that. Hit return and it works, right? So we have to provide the packet, the module name, right? Now, we could, let's go ahead and exit. All right, so clear the screen. Let's go ahead and import that again, but we're going to do a little bit different. We're going to say import, I'm sorry, Python 3. So we're going to import hello. Actually, I'm going to say from hello. So hello world. Import. Now here, instead of just importing the entire module, I'm going to say from hello world, import print greeting. See what happens there. So I'm going to say, I'm sorry, just print greeting. Hit return. Okay, so the module got imported. Now if I type print greeting, I can call print greeting without specifying the module name because I've imported the print greeting definition directly, right, for that function. Also, too, I can call print greeting with my own string, right, my own greetings. I can say hello Rick, like this, right? All right. So this is an example of importing. Now let's say, so let's try something a little different, right? These behaviors work the same, like whether or not you're importing from the, from when you're running the REPL, right? Or whether you're importing the module into another module, right? So I'm going to exit out of here. I'm going to go back to Visual Studio Code. And I've got this module that, I got the Hello World module defined, right? So I'm going to go to my main. Oh, one other thing. Very, very important. If you understand this concept, it will clarify a lot of issues that you may have with Python now and into the future, right? If you understand this. When I import, I'm going to clear the screen. Oh, Python. All right, so import, all right, hello world. So I'm importing hello world module. Now I want to find out what's the name of this module, right? Like I imported the hello world module. What's the name of this module, right? So if I say hello world, there's metadata. That's the name of the module, dot name. The name of the module is hello world. Okay. So that's a very important thing to understand. The name of the module when it gets imported is the name of the file name. But this module name can change based on how it's actually loaded into the Python interpreter. So let's exit out of here. Let's go back to Visual Studio Code. And let's go to the main. And this, I'm just going to say, add some comments, defines the main module. I'm just going to say defines a main module. Now, whenever I build Python programs, I like to, architect the application in such a way that I have one or more modules that actually do the work. And then there's one module that I call main that because if you've taken my classes or whatever, it allows you to know exactly which file to run in order to run your program, right? So in this particular case, I'm going to define a method, def. First off, I'm going to import. I'm going to say, well, let's do it like this first before I do anything, right? I'm going to say define a function called main, which is just a function, right? It's nothing special, but it's just a function name. You get to name this thing anything. But I'm going to say print f main module. I'm going to say main function. Main module. How do I'm just going to say from main. All right. So what this means is it's going to print this message from main, which is the name of the module, and the name of the function that has this print statement in it. And then I'm going to say if name, and these are double underscores, although my text doesn't clearly separate the double underscores. It's underscore underscore name, which is a property of a module. There's lots of different properties a module can have. So name equals equals, and then underscore underscore main. All right. Then if that's the case, if the name of this module is underscore underscore main, then run the main function. Now this is confusing for a couple reasons to neophytes, right? Because, or the inexperienced, and that's because you've got the name of this module is main. It's main, M-A-I-N. But this line of code here, this if says, hey, if the property name of this module is underscore underscore main underscore underscore, then execute that main function, right? This will become important here in a second. Okay, so now let's just import the main in the REPL. So I've got this here. Let's go back to the REPL and say Python, Python, right? I'm in the console. Import main, right? So now if I say main.main, it says from main, right? So it printed out that message. But if I say main dot underscore name, what is the name of the module? It's main with no underscores, right? That means this module was imported into the REPL somehow. It wasn't run directly from the command line. Let me add one more let me add one more line of code in Visual Studio to this print, and I'm going to say, I'll just do this from main. Module name is name. All right. So this will make it easier to see what's going on. Go back to here, run Python, and import the main module and run main dot main, right? The module name is main. Exit. Now, because now I'm going to run this from the console, right? Like right here, Python 3 main.py. So now what I'm doing is I'm running this main module, but I'm not launching the REPL first and then importing the module. I'm running the module with the Python 3 command directly. When I hit return, see the difference in the name of the main. Now it's called underscore underscore main. Now, you may think, oh, that's because the name of the module is main, right? No. Anytime you run a program or you run a Python module from the command line, it's going to change its name to underscore underscore main. So let's go back to Visual Studio and modify the Hello World program so you can see this better. I'm going to go here and I'm going to, I'll just do the same thing in Hello World. I'm going to say print message, print F, okay. Hello World dot print greeting. Okay. Module name. So, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to print the message. And then on the next line, we're going to say hello world.print greeting module name. And we're going to add this little piece of code down here. def, I'm sorry, not def. I'm going to say if name equals main, okay, then execute print greeting, okay, with I'll just leave the default message, right? No, pass no arguments. Save that. So now what this is going to do is, like, if we run this from the command line, we're going to say, hey, if the name of this module is main, then execute the print greeting function with, you know, and with no arguments, which means that the default argument will be used. So let's go here to the console, clear the screen. Now we're going to run this. Well, first off, let's load it into the REPL, so Python 3, and then import hello. So we see hello world. This prints whenever the module is loaded. And then we're going to say hello world dot print greeting. Okay, hit return. It says hello world dot print greeting module name hello world. That's because we imported it, right? The name of the module is hello world. There's no underscores in front of it or anything. So if we exit and run hello world from the command line console, hello world.py, then we see that this prints whenever the module is loaded, right? So it still gets printed automatically because it's just a statement in the module. Then we run hello world, because then we're running these two lines show up because when this thing gets run, it's by the command line Python, right? You run it with Python from the command line. The name of the module changes from hello underscore world to just underscore underscore main underscore underscore. And if that's the case, then it calls the hello greeting or the print greeting, and this is what gets printed, right? So let's go back to Visual Studio Code and walk through that what just happened. So if we run this from the command line, the name of the module will be changed by the interpreter from hello world underscore world to underscore underscore main. Okay. If that's the case, and the module name is underscore underscore main, that means, you know, it's been run from the command line. So what do you want to do? Well, if that's the case, then run it, do something. Call this function, print greeting. And we're just calling the print greeting function, and it prints the message, whatever that default value is. And then it says hello world dot print greeting, module name is underscore underscore main, because that's how that got run, right? So essentially, and this video is almost done because it's already getting a little long. You've got two different ways that you can import a module. The Python interpreter is going to evaluate every line. If it's a topmost level line, and by that I mean, you know, it's not a function definition, it's just a command, it's going to execute that command. Now you can have lots of different commands that don't produce output. Like I could set variable names at this level if I wanted to, right? But generally speaking, you're defining functions or classes or other types of objects. And if you load those in, and you're going to load those into other programs, but nothing's going to be shown on this console because generally speaking, you're loading a module so that you can use some functionality and call into that module to actually interact with the functionality that it implements. Okay. And that's it. For what I wanted to show you is just how you run a program for the command line. The way that you do it is you type Python 3, right? And then the name of whatever file you want to run. In this case, I'll do main.py. It'll load that into the interpreter and then figure out, hey, is the name of the module main? Yeah, because it was executed from the command line, and it prints that main, whatever's in the main function, it executes that. The main, now the reason I use a main.py file, let's go here. Let's do one more thing before we exit, right? To kind of close the loop on this whole concept. I'm going to go now to the main, and I'm going to import, right? I'm going to say I'm just going to import, right? Import hello world. So now hello world is in my same directory, so my system knows, oh, that's the module you're talking about. I'm going to change this. Actually, I'll leave it like that, but I'm going to say, I'll come down here and say, hello world dot print greeting. Greetings from main.main. Right, so we know which function's being called, and then that function's calling this hello world.print greeting. All right, now, so we're importing hello world. Notice what happens when I import this package or this function into the main module. So I got one module importing another module. Save the code, clear the screen. Python 3 main.py. So we imported that hello world module. So this line got printed, right? Because that's what happens when you import a module. If you have any top level commands that need to be executed. And then because the name of the module is __ main, because it got executed from the command line, we print, whatever's in the main function, right? From main, right? And then greetings from main. And then we're actually, whatever's in the print greeting function. And that is hello world.print greeting, module name hello world. So when you import a module, the module name stays the same. So in this case, hello world, we imported it into the main module, but we executed the main module, so its name changed from MAIN to __ MAIN. Okay, that's module importing right there, right? All right, so this actually covers some stuff in chapters. What is the chapter? Let's go over here. Besides giving you that kind of an overview, right, which talks about a lot of this stuff in chapter 3. This also covered a little bit of the information that is found in chapter 12, modules and functions, right? Because modules and functions are a way to organize your source code, right? Especially when you start building bigger programs. All right, so now, okay, so that's all I have for this lesson, at least this video, and I'll see you in the next one.